In a land where trees whisper tales of timeless horror, where shadows hold the remnants of forgotten whispers, I found myself ensnared in a tale of the unseen and the unknown. The woods, a realm of whispering leaves and sighing winds, had always held a morbid allure, a siren song calling me into its labyrinth embrace. The journey began under a watchful moon, its glow a silver witness to the dance of shadows. The trees, ancient guardians of forgotten secrets, watched in silent judgment as I traversed deeper into their realm, the air heavy with the scent of decay and the whispers of the unseen. The symphony of the night was a haunting melody, a blend of nocturnal whispers and the rustle of unseen entities. Every shadow seemed a doorway to another realm, every sound a whisper to other side. My footsteps were hesitant whispers in the silence, echoes of a living presence in the land of shadows. As the moon reached its zenith, the woods came alive with a different kind of whisper, a murmuring that seemed to emanate from the very soil beneath my feet. The shadows seemed to deepen, the winds carrying whispers of anguish and longing, a symphony of the lost and the damned. Then, amidst the shadows, a figure emerged, a spectral entity cloaked in the remnants of long time forgotten. Her eyes were pools of eternal sorrow, her movements a dance of despair. She was a whisper from the other side, a shadow trapped in the land of the living. Her whispers were a blend of sorrow and anger, tales of betrayal and longing, of a life cut short and a spirit trapped in the shadows. The air grew colder with her every word, the shadows deepening, whispering of the anguish of the unseen. She spoke of a realm beyond the shadows, where spirits wandered in eternal despair, where the air was heavy with the whispers of the damned. She spoke of her longing for release, her desire to be free of the shadows, to be more than a whisper in the wind. The shadows around her seemed to dance to her sorrow, the winds carrying her whispers to the unseen realms, a haunting symphony of the other side. Her presence was a chill in my soul, her whispers a blade in my heart. I could feel the shadows reaching for me, the whispers of the unseen wrapping around my soul, a cold embrace from the other side. Every fiber of my being screamed to flee, to escape the cold embrace of the shadows, but my feet were rooted to the spot, my soul ensnared in her sorrowful dance. Her whispers were a cold wind in my soul, her presence a shadow on my heart. I could feel the shadows deepening, the unseen drawing closer, the air heavy with the whispers of the damned. My mind screamed in silent agony, my soul a battleground between the living and the unseen. Then, with a whisper that seemed to shake the very air around me, she vanished, leaving only the shadows and the whispering winds, a silent witness to the dance of the unseen. The words were silent once, and the woods were silenced once more, the shadows whispering tales of sorrow and despair, of a spirit trapped in the land of shadows. I left the woods with a shadow on my soul, a whisper from the other side etched into my being. The world seemed a shadow of its former self, the air heavy with the unseen whispers. I had seen the other side, heard the whispers of the damned, and felt the cold embrace of the shadows. The woods remain a land of whispering shadows and unseen entities, a realm where the living and the unseen dance in a symphony of sorrow and despair. I, am a silent witness to the dance of the shadows, a living echo of the whispers from the other side. In the land of whispering trees and sighing winds, the shadows hold the remnants of forgotten whispers, a haunting symphony of the unseen and the unknown. In a quiet, forgotten corner of the internet, a mysterious forum existed, known to a select few as the Echo Chamber. People whispered about it in hushed tones in various online communities. The rule was simple. You may only post once, a single message, and then you were forever a spectator, incapable of interacting ever again. Lila, an avid fan of the dark corners of the web, finally managed to find an invite. The anticipation bubbled within her as she composed her single message, intending to make a mark in this enigmatic forum. After submitting her message, she noticed something strange. The previous messages seemed to be conversations people were having with themselves. Odd, disjointed phrases that seemed to anticipate their own responses, threading into disturbing narratives that twisted in on themselves. As days went by, Lila felt an unnerving connection to the forum. It seemed to know her deepest fears and secrets, displaying conversations she didn't remember having, yet with phrases she used, thoughts she harbored, fears she kept buried. It escalated, threads of her supposed conversations delving into sinister plans, violent thoughts, and macabre fascinations. Lila could do nothing but watch in horror as her digital doppelganger spiraled into madness, the lines between her reality and the forum blurring. And then, one day, a new thread appeared, a conversation that seemed to predict her actions in real time, describing in vivid detail the room she was in, the clothes she was wearing. Panic clawed at her as she realized that the forum wasn't just an echo chamber of past conversations, but a sinister entity echoing her present, perhaps even manipulating it. Lila tried to delete her account, to escape the digital nightmare, but she found herself locked in, a spectator in her own life's unraveling, as the entity in the forum began reaching into her physical world. Objects moving, shadows flickering in her periphery. Desperation and fear consumed her as the entity seemed to be preparing for something, a horrifying event that would bridge the gap between the digital echo chamber and her tangible reality. Lila felt herself losing grip on her own actions, a puppet whose strings were being pulled from the dark corners of the internet. As the sun set, casting long shadows in her room, the forum displayed a new message, a conversation between the entity and her, arranging a meeting, a merging of worlds, a dark promise of what was to come. And as darkness swallowed her room, Lila realized with horrifying clarity that the echo chamber wasn't just echoing her thoughts and actions. It was echoing the sinister desires of something far more malevolent, something that now stepped out of the shadows, ready to claim its place in the real world, using her as a vessel to traverse the boundaries that should never have been breached. In the forgotten town of Willow Creek, nestled between the ever-reaching arms of gnarled trees and eerie still waters, residents carried tales of the Lady of the Lake. They whispered of a spectral figure that emerged on fog-shrouded nights, a woman of ethereal beauty with sorrowful eyes that held the weight of centuries. Grant, an urban explorer with a thriving online following, found himself drawn to Willow Creek, eager to uncover the truth of the haunting tales that seemed to seep from the very ground itself. A fervent listener of Darkness Prevails, he believed he had the steel nerves required to face the eerie occurrences documented in those spine-chilling narratives. With high-tech equipment and unwavering determination, Grant set up camp by the lake, where the boundary between the living and the dead seemed gossamer thin. The moon cast a ghostly glow on the placid waters as the mist began its slow dance, wrapping around him like the fingers of unseen spirits. As the clock ticked past midnight, a mournful melody drifted across the lake, a siren song that beckoned him closer to the water's edge. There, emerging from the depths, was the Lady of the Lake, her skin glowing with an otherworldly light, her hair flowing like tendrils of silk in the wind. Grant's heartbeat echoed loudly in his ears, a drum of both fear and fascination, as he raised his camera to capture the ghostly apparition. But as he looked through the lens, he saw not a spectral figure, but scenes of the lady's past unfolding before him. A time of laughter and love, a brutal betrayal, a life cut tragically short. The lady moved closer, her eyes locking onto his, a window into a soul burdened with grief and longing. Grant could feel his surroundings fade as time seemed to fold upon itself, immersing him in her tragic tale. The air grew thick with the scent of blooming flowers and fresh blood, a vivid tapestry of love and death woven from the threads of her memories. In the grip of the lady's tragic story, Grant lost track of time, his digital devices rendered useless in the face of the ancient power that governed Willow Creek. Days turned into nights, the boundary between the past and the present blurring until Grant could no longer tell if he was a witness or a participant in the unfolding tragedy. He found himself unable to leave, drawn deeper and deeper into the lady's world, a prisoner of her haunting melody, that the sorrow that clung to the murky waters. As the moon completed its cycle, the lady extended her hand, an invitation to join her in the depths, to become a part of her timeless tale. With tears in his eyes, Grant made a choice, a sacrifice that would meld him with the haunting tale that spanned centuries. As he stepped into the water, the modern world faded away, leaving only the moonlit lake and the sorrowful beauty of the lady who captured his heart and soul. Back in the bustling chaos of the city, Grant's followers waited anxiously for updates, the eerie beauty of Willow Creek captured in his last upload, a chilling prelude to a disappearance that echoed through time, another soul claimed by the tragic allure of the Lady of the Lake, a haunting reminder that in some places, darkness prevails, weaving tragic tales that transcend time. In the ever-twisting realm of the digital abyss, where shadows creep and whispers echo, there existed a seemingly innocuous space known as Velvet Shadows. It was a moniker cloaked in allure and mystery, a name attached to an OnlyFans account. The creator, a woman named Serafina, portrayed a mystical enchantress, her content bathed in crimsons and cobalt hues, creating an ethereal dance of shadows and light. The online world was entranced, each image a whispering promise of unseen worlds, each video a journey into the unknown. Yet, whispers began to intertwine with the enchanting images. Subscribers spoke of seeing shapes in the shadows, of hearing whispers in the silence, feeling eyes upon them in the solitude of their rooms. A dance of curiosity and fear began, a ballet of the mesmerizing and the macabre. Each day, the shadows grew more pronounced, the whispers more coherent. They spoke of timeless realms, of shadows craving the light, of entities existing in the interstice between worlds. Subscribers found themselves drawn deeper, unable to tear themselves away from the velvet shadows, losing hours, days, ensnared in the hypnotic dance of Serafina's creation. Then, subscribers began to disappear, their online presence vanishing, leaving only echoes in the digital void. Each disappearance was preceded by an image, a glimpse into the velvet shadows, where the missing subscriber was seen, a spectral figure, their faces a mask of terror and longing, trapped in the crimson and cobalt abyss. Fear and fascination mingled in the online communities. Theories and speculations were whispered in hushed tones, the velvet shadows becoming a legend, a digital siren song leading the curious into the abyss. The account became a forbidden fruit, a tantalizing glimpse into the unknown, where shadows whispered and unseen eyes watched. Finally, the day arrived when Serafina herself vanished. The last image posted was a self-portrait, her face pale, her eyes pools of cobalt and crimson, shadows and whispers intertwining around her, forming a haunting symphony of the unseen and the unknown. And thus, the velvet shadows became a realm of the lost, a haunting symphony in the digital abyss, where shadows danced and whispers echoed, a chilling reminder of the unseen realms that existed in the interstice, waiting, whispering, watching, a darkness prevailing in the labyrinth of ones and zeros. In the desolate expanse where urban sprawl meets the untamed wilderness, something sinister was walking in the depths of the forest. The locals had long spoken of the shadowy entities that stalked the ancient trees, tales passed down through generations that kept children close and doors firmly locked as night descended. Derek was drawn to explore the unsettling boundaries where reality frayed and the inexplicable began. Equipped with a camera and a torch, he ventured into the heart of the forest, where civilization's grip loosened and darkness prevailed. The deeper he ventured, the denser the forest became, a living entity with breath that fogged the air and roots that seemed to pulse beneath his feet. As the sun retreated, giving way to an oppressive night, Derek began to feel an unyielding gaze upon him, eyes that flickered in the shadows, whispers that murmured in the rustling leaves. His rational mind fought to regain control, but the forest had a way of seeping into one's psyche, teasing out the deepest fears. With his camera rolling, Derek documented eerie formations in the trees, shapes that seemed to morph and shift when viewed from the corner of his eye. The air grew colder, a heavy presence enveloping him, a sensation of being both hunted and embraced. He could hear them now, the guardians of the forest, entities older than time itself, emerging from the bowels of the earth to protect their sacred ground. Derek's heartbeat thundered in his ears as towering figures materialized from the darkness, grotesque and twisted, their forms barely comprehensible to the human eye. A nightmarish tapestry of gnarled limbs and shifting shadows. Fear clawed at Derek, urging him to flee, but an unnatural force rooted him to the spot, his camera capturing the horrifying visages that swayed before him, an unholy congregation in the moonlit glade. And then, as if sensing the intrusion of his modern technology, they turned towards him, eyes like burning coals piercing through the darkness. Derek could feel his sanity fraying at the edges as they reached for him, their forms dissolving and reforming in a dance of darkness and malice. In a surge of adrenaline, Derek broke free, stumbling blindly through the forest, his camera discarded, a lone testament to the nightmarish reality that existed in the dark corners of the world. He could hear them behind him, a cacophony of whispers and rustling, an unyielding pursuit that echoed through the trees. Derek never fully emerged from those woods. Locals found him weeks later, a shell of a man, his eyes vacant, a chilling tale of darkness that prevailed, etched into his very soul. And in the quiet corners, YouTube, a video circulates, a chilling glimpse into the unknown, a testament to the dark entities that guard the ancient woods, a chilling reminder that in the battle between curiosity and darkness, sometimes darkness wins.